So continuing here, you click edit, we have our information looking decently great. One thing would be really nice to have, obviously, is to have these fields pre-populated, because remember, we are editing this user. We have this current user object. That's why we're able to get their name, their profession, or quotes, and so forth. So when we click here, we should also be able to get their information and start adding here, like their name, profession, favorite quote, and avatar, and their avatar URL. And of course, we're going to also add the buttons here. So let's go ahead and add these action buttons to save or update, and of course, and cancel. So back to our code, let's go to the bottom. So here we are. And remember, we're inside of our alert dialog. This is where it ends. So outside our form here, I can say actions. You can see, there we go. We can pass a list of widgets. So for now, I'm going to just pass text buttons. We're going to make them look way better at a later time. Let's use the text button like this. Pressed, for now, nothing. And child, I'm going to just add a text that will say update. I'm going to copy this, and this one will say cancel. And of course, while we're here, let's go ahead and give padding to both of them like this. It's very good. Now, what is that we want to happen when they say cancel? Well, we want to get out of this alert dialog. It's very simple. We can use the navigator to just get out. So we can say navigator, pass the context, and then say pop like this. Okay, it just gets rid of this pop. So we just get rid of this alert dialog, and we go back to what we had previously. The more complex part here is the update, because the idea is then to update this user. Let's go ahead and save this and rerun. So we're back, edit. Okay, there it is, update. And if you click cancel, it goes back to the previous one. That's very good. Now, what we want to do is pull in all of the information about this particular user, because we should have this current user's information. Populate our form. How we populate our form with some data, it has to be through our controllers. If we go up here, you will see where we instantiated our controllers. At the top here, we instantiate our controller. We can very easily also get our user. But before we even do that, we need to refactor our code here, which coincidentally is going to help us with retrieving the information that we want. So we have our user, because we've been using this user to add information. Let's go back here, go to edit, we're pulling in litos, and we have the image and so forth. Because we already have our current user object floating around, we can actually use that to pre-populate our text form. How do we do that? Well, there's different ways to do this, but for now, what we can do is inside of each one of these text form fields, I can say value. If you type in value, initial value, we can add our user, or current user, that is, let's say current user, and get for this one the name, so display name like that. Okay, I'm going to copy this and paste it all in this second one. It's going to be profession. This one favorite quote, or simply quote as such, and of course the URL avatar. Like this. Okay, let's save this. Let's click, edit, and we have a problem here. Let's see, controller is equal to null, initial value is null. What is the problem? Let's open our terminal, right? There's different ways to do so, but we can also say Command Shift P or Control Shift P on Windows, debug console. We want that first one, debug console, focus on debug console view. Hit enter, that should also open that. And you can see that we have a few problems here. It says initial value is equal to null, control is equal to null. It's not true, so something is not right. And you can see here it says the problem package is main screen dot 144. So main screen 144, about that area. So this text form here, something is not quite right. Let's refactor this code here that way, because it's getting too chaotic and this is not a good thing. Okay, let's go up to still in main screen here, right here where we have the first text button icon where we're showing the first dialog, right? Alert dialog there. We're going to refactor that first. So essentially when we click, this is where we're going to refactor first. And of course inside we have another dialog which is going to be also refactored inside. No worries. Let's click this command period and let's extract widget in this case. Create profile dialog, hit enter, and it does all this for us. Very nice. Keep save, and you can see that this was created at the bottom here. And the beauty again about doing this way is that it creates the class, create profile dialog. It's a widget, stateless widget, and creates all of the fields that it needs, all of the parameters and constructor that it needs and everything. Very helpful. So now I'm going to go up here, click there. Oops, that's not what I wanted. But anyway, down here now, I'm going to shift up arrow. I'm going to cut all of this. And now we're going to go to our widgets. Okay, let's close all of that, no screens. Inside of our widgets here, I'm going to say create a new file, which is going to be called create profile.dart. Okay, pass it all in. And now all I have to do is just import material and whatever else I need to import, the M user. That's important because it's needed. And you can also see here the little overview. We can just click where it's red. So we can import all that's needed. Okay, there's one more, just click there. This hex color also needs to be imported. That's very good. Okay, now it's all good. Now let's go back to our main screen. It's gonna complain a little bit because it says, well, I don't know what create profile dialog is. So we know what it is because we're going to import that library as well. All right, much simpler code. That's very good. Now, although this works fine, we need to change a few things here, because this is not going to help us. So let's go to our create profile, and we are going to, at the top here, I'm just going to say widget, like this, create profile dialog. It's just going to be a function that will return a widget. So I'm going to just say return an alert dialog. So essentially this. So I'm going to copy all of this because this is needed and paste it all in there. Okay, we can have some issues here, no problem. Now this create dialog here, what do we need? We need to pass, first of all, a build context. So it knows exactly how to build itself. And then I'm going to pass here a user. So I'm going to say M user object, call this user. Let's call this cur user. I think that's been the best. So inside here, I'm going to instantiate the text fields that are needed. So essentially all of these text fields that we created before in our main here, let's go back there. I'm going to just copy all of these out. Just copy all of this. Go back up here and just add all of them there. Now, the reason why I want to do this is going to simplify our lives when it comes to populate our text form, our text fields. So in this case here, when we instantiate each one of these controllers, right, display, profession text controller, and many others, I can say, for instance, text, and then say current user, and I can get the display name, right? And for the profession, I can say, just so what we're doing here, we're just adding initial values to our text controllers. This is going to be professional. Again, current user. Let's get the profession and go back to the quotes. So text, current user, get the quote, get text, current user. Let's go ahead and get the avatar. In this case here, when we call this create profile dialog function, we'll return, of course, our dialog, but most importantly, we'll set up our edit controllers so that they have something to begin with. As it is right now, we should be good. So let me go ahead and get rid of all of this. This is what's That's what we had before. Just going to delete that. Save this. Now we're going to have some problems because back to our main screen here, we will have to come. I want to comment these guys out because we won't need them anymore because they are being instantiated somewhere else. And we're going to have some issues here. That's no problem because we're no longer going to use it as it is like this, right? We're going to get rid of this. Instead, we're just going to say return this method here, which is create file profile dialog. So we just copy this. And then we need to pass a few parameters, obviously. And the parameters that we need to pass, positional arguments, click selector 2, I'm going to pass the context. And I'm going to pass the user, in this case, current user as such. And we should be good for now. So let's save everything. Let's go ahead and see, click, edit, and voila, you can see now it's showing exactly what we need. Looks like the avatar URL, it's not showing anything. Let's see why would that be. Let's go to create. Let's find our avatar, can use our avatar. Well, it could be that Litos doesn't have anything for its avatar. Is that true? Yes, avatar is null. That's why it's not showing anything up here. Very good. So this is indeed working as expected. And there you have it. So now we're able to compartmentalize our code. We refactor our code a little bit, and we create a create profile dialog widget. It returns a widget, but we know it returns an alert dialog. That's fine. And everything is the same, but most importantly, we were able to instantiate everything, all these edit texts inside of this create profile dialog instead of polluting our main screen there. Now our create profile dialog, all it needs is the context because it needs that to build itself, right? And then it needs the current user. That way it's easier now for us to pass through all of that, right? Create our edit controller. We pass the initial values of that user, which you can see here. It goes and picks all of that. And if it's null, it doesn't have anything, it just passes nothing. It makes sense. All right, very good. So the next thing we need to do, obviously inside of our create profile, we do have yet another thing, this show dialog, which we'll need to extract that as well. And remember, this is the one that contains all of these text forms and so forth. And we'll do that in the next video.